One. Welcome to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast brought to you by the Dynamo Podcast Network. And today we're going to bring you our Monday mashup show. And tonight I have Mark Hogan representing Man United. I've got Craig Byrne representing Liverpool. I've got Alex Byrne representing Chelsea. I've got Jose Mourinho, Graham Cummins representing Spurs. I've got Simon Trainer representing the Gunners, Arsenal. DJ Keno back on again, loving these podcasts, representing Liverpool.
Absolutely love it.
And making his debut tonight, representing the Leeds, Dean Breen. How are you doing, Dino?
I'm good, pal. Thanks very much for inviting me on.
Great to have you on, lads. Great to have you on. So I suppose what I'll do is I'll kick off. Let's start with Chelsea, Alex. Fantastic game yesterday against Burnley. The scoreline didn't really represent the dominance of Chelsea and the formation that they played. What was your thinking yesterday?
Gotta say, I'm pretty happy to be here. It's the first time I've been invited on a podcast with Chelsea and won a game. That's rare enough these days too. But I thought it was great. The kind of first half, I was like, okay. I was like, it's a bit, a little bit of the Wolves game. I was like, need a bit more penetration. But the second half, I couldn't believe it. It was so strange just watching. We just attacked for the whole game. Burnley had one chance in the entire game, and it was a header in the 93rd minute. So, we've seen in recent games, especially yourself at Liverpool, Burnley aren't exactly an easy team to beat. They're very kind of, solid, very kind of resolute. But, yeah, I was absolutely taken away. I couldn't believe just the improvement in the team from kind of the week before when we played in the Cup to that game against Burnley was like night and day. I couldn't believe how well the team played. And the big thing for me was when we got the ball, the counter-attack was so quick because it was so slow for the last few games under Frank, trying to go up the pitch. It was very lethargic. But as soon as we got up the pitch and broke, we seemed dangerous every time we attacked. And it was great. I was really impressed.
I couldn't believe it when I went on and looked and I seen the goal scorers, Azpilicueta and Marcus Alonso. And I was there going, what the hell's happened here? You know what I mean? Because I didn't catch the start of the game, but I was well impressed. The one thing I noticed with Tuchel is he's given everyone a crack at the whip to see how they get on, and he's trying to feel his way through it to see what is his best sort of formation or squad. You know what I mean? So no one's off the table at the moment.
Exactly. We saw that with Marcus Alonso because when we drew 3-0 against West Brom earlier in the season, everyone thought his Chelsea career was over because he had that big fallout with Frank Lampard at half-time. He watched the game on the bus, but Alonso, he's the strangest player in the world. When he plays as a left-back in a back four, he's useless. But as soon as he plays as a left wing-back with a back three, he turns into Lionel Messi. I don't know what it is about him as a left wing-back. He's brilliant. And the way he took that goal the weekend, I couldn't believe it. The chest, the knee, and then roof of the net. I saw one online saying whoever put Marcus Alonso as a left back as a youth coach robbed the world of one of the greatest striking talents of our generation.
Yeah, he certainly has a number of those goals in his locker as well from previous times as well. So I suppose we'll let's move on to Leeds, the debut man on the show. Leeds 3, Leicester 1. What a performance yesterday! But by Patrick Bamford, then unbelievable.
He's honestly this season's been unbelievable. I think me and probably 90% of the Leeds fans are like, we need a striker because his expected goals last year was something like 80. Not that XG stuff that people do. It was 80 goals. It's not good enough for the chances that he's missing. You know what I mean? I think this season it's already expected 60 goals that you should have. With chances created and stuff like that. But he was brilliant yesterday. He said Fofana was one of the hardest defenders he played against. That was early in the season, and he took the piss out of him yesterday.
Yeah,
what I mean? That goal that he went past with. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
And I suppose you should say hats off to Bielsa as well, because when the games haven't been going your way, he stuck to his guns and he stuck to his way of playing. He could have easily panicked being in the Premiership and said, I'm going to change this up and go a bit defensive and a bit negative. But he stuck to his guns, and that's a good Leicester side there yesterday as well to take that scalp, especially with Rodgers, who's one of the top managers in the division at the moment when you think about it,
Yeah, everyone always says, you're going to burn out. And well, I'm waiting. This is the third or fourth season now. I'm waiting for that burnout. I know we lost against Derby. That was the mistake right before half time when Cooper and Casillas clashed into each other and Derby got that goal. And they had the momentum, they swung with it. But I'm still waiting for this burnout that people think that Bielsa has, you know what I mean? And the likes of when we lost 4-1 to Leicester at the start of the season, everyone was like, oh, they're much better than Greville. Bielsa went out there yesterday, surprisingly changed this whole game thing and played Leicester's way that they played against us, and they hadn't a clue what to do. So we went out there, we got the 3-1 victory away at Leicester, which is brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of people that put him down. If you actually read up about him and the stuff that he says to the players and makes players do, they'll die from out there. That's the type
Yeah,
of
absolutely. I think when lads are talking about that burnout, they're talking about in terms of a top 6, not in terms of a relegation.
Yeah, I don't know, because you go through all his other teams as well, like the likes of Bilbao or Marseille and even Newell's back in the 90s. Like it never happened for any of them. Like they're just Marseille probably not always supposed to win the league. Lille's probably not supposed to win the league. Bilbao, when was the last time they won a league? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, he's brilliant. He's never won on. He doesn't go to these big. He goes to these clubs where you have like this little fan base and it's a family, and he can walk out. He can walk out on the street. He can meet a fan on the street. You know what I mean? Go for a cup of coffee and talk to people and sign autographs and everything like that. If you're a Manchester United manager or Liverpool or Chelsea, you can't do that. You know what I mean? You'll be mobbed like by everybody.
Yeah.
It's his little way of doing things. I think it's great. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Alex, you're probably sitting there wondering how Patrick Bamford got away as well, are you?
Only as far as this season. Before that, I was like, well, thank God he's gone. But because I mean, it's a strange one for him, because I mean, we've seen him play in the top flight with like Swansea, with Middlesbrough, with Burnley, and he never really looked at it. I think before the season he had one Premier League goal, but I mean, looking at him now, he's absolutely sensational. So like, I don't know really what's changed, but he really looks like a man in form. He even got a goal against us at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season. So I mean, I'm baffled with how good he is this season. But like, fair to him. I mean, fair play to him. It's nice to see, I suppose, a news story come onto the scene like that and do so well, like comparison to the usual names that score high. And hopefully, fair to him, he keeps going. Although I am a Chelsea fan, notoriously not supposed to like Leeds, it is good to see them back in the division. Like, as soon as you see someone versus Leeds, they're still a big name.
Yeah, it's great to have them back. They're a proper Premiership club, and they should be back. You know what I mean? It adds to it.
I'll jump in there, Noel, really quick before.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Bamford, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. 11 goals now in the Premier League. And look at the finish yesterday. If that was Kane, Salah, or anyone else, we'd be probably talking about it. Our football fans would be talking about it. But because it's Bamford, we just get a mention. You know what I mean? And I just think they should get the credit they deserve.
See, Dane there probably as a Leeds fan probably doesn't want anyone talking about Bamford, because someone is going to poach him. You know what I mean? He wants it all kept hush hush.
The thing as well is about it, and I don't even think nobody knows this. See, on Wednesday, look, I'll take a draw on Wednesday. We play Everton, right? If we win on Wednesday, we're 3 points behind West Ham, who are in fifth with a game in hand. I think if we got Europe, it absolutely destroy us next season.
Like, look at Wolves. Like, without, it's mad, isn't it? Like, it's.
You know what I mean? Look at Wolves now. They had a great team last year. It's kind of the same team, but Europe looks like it's at that messing them up. You know what I mean?
It takes you apart, doesn't it? Like, it really does. Like.
It's mad probably for a team to come up and it's like, oh, I don't want to get Europe. But when you actually think about the implications of it, you're like, oh, fuck. Like,
it took you 20 years nearly to get back up there. Enjoy every minute of it, man. You know what I mean? Take Europe, cups, everything.
That first game.
Leeds are a great club, lads.
That first game when we lost Liverpool, I was like, you just seen a smile on my face. I was like, this is absolutely unbelievable. This is the Premier League, the champion, probably the top 3 best Premier League sides ever. Like,
it's great to have Leeds in the Premier League.
Back home.
Yeah. The Viduka era is over, pal.
Yeah, Bamford's coming out now.
Right, so let's move on to Arsenal versus United. Simon, what was you thinking on the Arsenal United game?
I mean, as go, it wasn't a terrible one. I think going off of the way United had played the other night, you think to yourself, we could do something here. We've not done too badly. Lost, I think, the 6 now. We've not lost to United in the 6. I think we had our chances. We definitely had our chances. I wouldn't say they were there for the taking, but there were certainly things there to be positive about. We were missing some really key players. We've no left side without Kieran Tierney there. He gives us everything down the left wing. I think missing someone like Saka, as young as he is, he makes us tick in other ways. His running, his energy. I think obviously Alba not being there for his goals, albeit they've not been there this year as well. He still offers a little something, a little bit dangerous. Is someone in the box for defenders to worry about and things like that. But credit to United as well. I thought they played quite well. If Rashford didn't like having 1,000 touches in the box, they might have gone up one as well. I think obviously we hit the bar. It was not a bad draw as draws go. Like I say, not a bad 0-0 either for a game for a neutral, I'm sure.
Mark, what was your thinking on it?
Yeah, the same with Simon. I don't think either team deserved to win or lose, so I think a draw was a fair result. There hasn't been a real kind of entertaining Arsenal United game in a long time now. I don't think. We had the 0-0 on Saturday. I think that used 1-1 in Old Trafford, a penalty from Aubameyang, and then 1-0 last season in Old Trafford. They haven't been great games. I thought we probably edged the first half, but first 20 minutes of the second half was all Arsenal. They could have had 2 or 3 goals. They even had David Luiz running that was taking shots from everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? I know they were going to Rose Ed, but I think a draw was a fair result. I'm disappointed with Rashford and Rashford's performance. He hasn't been at the races this season. Obviously, Martial's the same. We've talked about him. I think he needs to see a sports psychologist or something at this stage,
I couldn't believe the chances Cavani missed. I just couldn't believe it for a guy of his level, and they're the chances he's been putting away. On a play from, I just couldn't believe it. I was looking at the match the other night, and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, one of those preseason tournaments where like Arsenal and United might get to the final of it or something like that. It was like one of those tournaments. It was like both teams were treating it like a throwaway game, sort of, that way. Yeah. No one really wanted to grab it by the scruff and, really go at it, you know what I mean? Which was very surprising because like it was 3 points in that game to either team would have been massive in terms of implications in the table, So it was a very strange game.
And like I was saying, like we're with Rashford and Martial not performing, we're relying on a 34-year-old, albeit a world-class striker, but we're relying on Cavani up there in his own now to do all the run around and score. Like, it's a lot of pressure on him. We just feel that, like I said, Rashford needs a goal to get his confidence up and see how he gets on then,
Yeah, absolutely. Graham, talk to me about the Champagne Lane. What's going on?
I don't know.
What is going on there? No Harry Kane. The Champagne Lane.
It's like the last match, Harry Kane got injured, but like we're not one team, man. Like Kane is missing. Like the rest of the team just can't perform. Like it's unreal. Like we played Son up front there against Brighton, but nothing was ticking. They're all ticking off. I don't know. Here we go again. It's the manager's fault. No, it's not the manager's fault. It's the players' fault. The players aren't performing. And by the summertime, he could have a new team. I don't know who he wants to stay, who he wants to keep. Like it's so many choices, It's downhill.
But by summertime, you could have a new manager near alone a new team.
Well, that's it.
I think the real issue for you is with Kane in that new role where he drops deep. He's becoming more of the provider, and there's no creativity in there when he goes.
Yeah, and once Kane is missing, the rest of them are lost.
Yeah, like even Son, as good as he is, unless he has Kane there beside him,
he's missing someone beside him. Yeah, he's missing that service from Kane, and vice versa.
What about the defence, Graham? The defence looked all over the place as well.
Defence is chopping and changing every week. It's like, it's 1 week we have Dyer right back. Next week we have Aurier. Like on left back, we might have, what's his name? Reguilon. We might have Ben Davis. And then the centre backs are changing as well. Like we have Toby Alderweireld. We have Vertonghen. Well, Vertonghen was gone. But you have Sanchez. We might have Eric Dyer. Sometimes he might play in midfield. He might play in defence. We just don't know. We're starting 11 on the sheet,
Yeah, it's interesting time for Spurs because they look like they're in trouble. This is not the time to be all over.
To be losing it now.
This
Definitely
is the time for stability and trying to put a few points on the board.
Yeah.
So then we move on to. I mean, obviously, we can touch on Man City with a 1-0 win over Sheffield United. Didn't look overly impressive, but they just get the job done week in, week out. 6 wins on the bounce. Just incredible as a team. And that's like without Aguero and without Kevin De Bruyne. Is still so strong. Yeah. Diaz has been unbelievable for them. Fernandinho back in the side is incredible. you know, even Jesus is starting to look like a real good footballer, which is, you know, unbelievable, really. And then you've obviously you know, these guys.
I'm looking forward to Sunday night because he's Spanish and Pep Guardiola is Spanish as well. I think Pep Guardiola was over him at Barcelona, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. As far as I
Bayern
know.
Munich. Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich.
I believe it was both. I could be wrong, but I do believe he brought him from Munich. But I think, though, when you see the big games this season, like with the exception of maybe one or two, like you touched on it with United and Arsenal, and even I kind of touched on it a bit with Liverpool against City. I hope it is a good game, but there seems to be a real kind of aura this season of in the big games, the teams seem to set up to not lose, if that makes sense. Like they don't seem to go as gung-ho for. They seem to be this whole kind of game plan, okay, we can't lose. And it's very kind of conservative, I think. You know, there's so much build-up for the games, but then a lot of the time they're becoming very conservative, I find.
Unless you're playing Leeds.
Well, Leeds is just great to watch.
And it's so strange as well, in a season like this where, like, by going gung-ho, the rewards could be huge.
Yeah.
The season's all over the place. The teams are all over the place. So if you go on a run of 3 or 4 games, you can separate yourself from the pack and nearly cement yourself in there for a European spot. It's amazing, like, and yet they don't. It
reminds me a lot of the 15-16 season when Leicester won the league. It seems to be a case of a lot of teams are going through a lot of bad runs. Like, you know, United had a bad run at the start of the season. Chelsea had a bad run before Lampard was sacked. Arsenal had a bad run. Even City, Liverpool had a mini bad run. Spurs look like they're going through a bit of a patch now. So, I mean, it's very strange. I think not having the fans has to play a part in that too. Like, I mean, you know, it's got to be so strange for the players playing in those conditions as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say that the whole thing with the fans not being there, especially with a team like the way Jose has Tottenham set up sometimes, and the way that they sit so deep in certain games, and a lot of teams are doing it. But I think the COVID football that we're watching now, there's no fans moving them up the pitch. Like you imagine if, especially go back, we were talking there about United and Arsenal. You go back to that 1-0 Arsenal at Old Trafford. There is no way United are sitting and not going forward and bombing on and getting the wingers involved and things like that. Every ground this year has been best team on the pitch will probably win this one. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but the fans are massive. They're the whole reason why this league, I think, has been the way it has been this year. Just a bit like that, you know.
Yeah, I also think that's a large reason as to why City are top. I mean, they've been playing in front of no fans for years.
Nice. So I suppose we should move on to Liverpool and West Ham. Liverpool winning 3-1, and we probably seen one of the goals of the season without a shadow of a doubt. Kane, you look very happy down there. Talk to me about the game.
One thing, Niall, unbelievable. We were unbelievable yesterday. Like, you seen the way we played at the start. The first half was just brilliant, and the second half was just great as well. Like Curtis Jones come on there yesterday as well. Absolute unreal player. He's only 20 years of age, and he's just a great player. I think Klopp knew what he was doing that yesterday when he was taking off James Milner. Milner looked a little bit tired there. He was getting tackled and he was just getting very tired.
I don't think Milner knew what he was doing, but
no, definitely not.
But about 20 seconds later, he did.
He did. He came back to Klopp. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Absolutely.
Such a screamer! Like, what a goal.
Craig, what was your thinking on the match?
Yeah, obviously I got in touch with you. I had just finished work and sadly missed the first half, but you reassured me we were in control and we would see it out, which was nice to hear after a few dodgy games. But when I got in, like, it was exactly what you said. You know, it looked like we were very in control. We were dictating the play, and I think as soon as Milner went off, Curtis kind of provides that extra ball forward, extra bit of drive forward, and the goals did come. I was a bit concerned, obviously, when I heard Mane was out as well, and when I seen Shaqiri and Origi starting up there, and Firmino on the bench, considering the options we have, I was like, on paper, I was like, I don't know, like, West Ham have been very good, very resilient recently, and I thought Antonio might be a bit of a concern, but I thought Phillips he didn't do anything wrong again. Simon Henderson
brilliant,
throws himself in the way, you know, no nonsense defender, what you would like, and the movement of Wijnaldum, even for Firmino's goal, you know, it's just like they're expecting to score. You know, that bit of urgency is there again. It was really Salah's goal. I can't even say anything about it. Like, oh my God, like,
amazing
ball, and it's one of the goals. It has to be.
It is. Like, Henderson is such a leader. Like,
Salah's other goal that he took on his left foot, going back to previous before United even, that would be Salah running to the corner. You know, what am I doing? Getting frustrated, very one-footed, but he'd no doubt about where he was putting that. You know, out of my feet, left foot, bang, like it's outstanding.
It's just a great goal. Like Henderson is such a leader too, isn't he? He really is.
And it shows like I think how, you know, unsung Wijnaldum is as well at times.
Yeah.
Like going forward and defense, like they all did well, but he just does them things, you know, off the ball kind of things, and it's just so vital for a kind of system. And hopefully we can get Hendo and Fabinho soon enough pushed back up to give us a good chance against City.
Absolutely. It was an outstanding performance in terms of ball possession and passing and everything else against a really good West Ham side at the moment, playing really good football under David Moyes. But they were made look very ordinary yesterday against a Liverpool side missing a good few key players, if you like.
Absolutely.
That's the Jesse Lingard effect.
Absolutely. and he pity he didn't play.
It would have been 4-1.
Sorry.
So looking at the midweek fixtures coming up this week, lads, we've got some belter games coming up this week in the midweek. Simon, starting with you, Wolves versus Arsenal. Cracking game.
Should be good. I mean, the game at the Emirates was very much how we were performing at the time. So I'm hoping that this will be something different. I mean, having seen Wolves since that game, obviously Jimenez got his injury that game. They've been nothing without him up front. I mean, Neto and Podence do their stuff really well on the wing, but without Jimenez in the middle, hopefully, I mean, it'd be famous last words, I touch wood, but hopefully they haven't got enough to give our back line any worries. I think we've got a couple coming back in tomorrow. There's talk of Alba being possibly back in. Saka potentially was in training today. Could be a great game. We've got a good couple of games coming up where we would like to be in a position after that we could be sniffing around the European places, definitely. But it could be a good one. I'd have us to win. I always have us to win, but it's going to be a tough one, I'd say.
Yeah, you couldn't pick a better time to play Wolves, really, when you think about it. Mark, huge game for United against Southampton.
Yeah.
Not the game to be going into coming off the back of a bad loss and a sort of a dull draw. What you thinking on it?
Yeah, well, they're coming in off the back of 2 defeats as well to obviously Arsenal and Villa, albeit controversial over the weekend. Yeah, it's one of those tough games, you know. Ward-Prowse could come up and pop in with a free kick early on and the confidence is shot. We need to go out and win the game. There's no doubt about it. Use our point behind us now. Like I said, we need to start scoring goals, and it has to be coming from like I said, a few of the players that aren't scoring at the moment, i.e. Martial, Rashford and stuff like that. Bruno hasn't been performing really to his standard the last 2 games either. So hopefully he'll be able to get a penalty and get his confidence up as well, you know.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play.
Liverpool signed Ben Davies.
Preston.
Yeah, I think that was a foregone conclusion anyway.
Dino, do you know him? I don't know anything about him.
I don't really know him, no.
What is the story? I'm like, I don't really know
much
does he
about
play
him.
or does Kabak play? What is the story there?
I think Kabak will partner Phillips and get the 2 lads out of the Henderson and Fabinho might push up a bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, Kabak is going to mind though to, you know, new system and the high line we play and everything, you know. Would it be wise to put him beside Phillips? I don't think so. Maybe if you leave Henderson in there to talk him, settle him into the system.
Settle him into a thing, yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, but it's, you know, it's interesting, definitely. I hope he does come in and do a job. Everyone's been crying out for a centre-back. My concern was more at the other end of the pitch, which looks really good at the moment, thank God.
My only concern is be careful what we wish for, you know.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Defensively, we haven't been doing that bad, really. You know what I mean? It's just up front we had been struggling for a while. Dane, talk to me. Leeds versus Everton, the Toffees.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a big Premier League game, as we all know, but I'll take the draw right now. I know they're coming off a loss against Newcastle, but I thought we hammered them the first game at Goodison Park. We beat them 1-0. Rafinha scored a cracker. So, it's just play the same way again. They're going to have to come out. They're going to have to come out and play against us. Everton won't sit back. Not with Ancelotti there anyway.
Yeah. I reckon Thiago and Van Dijk could be Leeds fans that night anyway, so wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be all good, you know.
I just wanted to, before you move on to Liverpool's Liverpool centre halves. Like, what happens in the summer now? You have about 6 or 7 centre. Like, I'm the same. See the way Van Dijk and Gomez. Like, that's the injury list. Like, our team, our defense has been decimated this season.
You don't have your
Like, we've
centre
had
back,
about
don't you? Like your original.
no.
You don't even
I think in 20 games we probably played the same defense twice. Like Koch, like German international, Lorente, Spanish national. He's only played twice. They're the two you'd want starting, and they haven't played together yet once.
Well, sure, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make them look good from now till the end of the season, and then we're going to sell them to you for about 40 million each. Be all good. Michael Edwards is a hero. Absolute hero.
Oh, stop. Don't man.
This the man who got 20 million for Solanke. I'm saying nothing else.
And Bruiser, like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's the best deal I thought was Andy Robertson, 8 million, then your man was 8 million. What was it, Cameron Stewart? Was that your man's name?
Kevin Stewart, yeah. Kevin Stewart, 6 million, yeah. It was net 2 million. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Yeah.
We'll take it.
Unbelievable.
Probably for me, the biggest game coming up midweek. Tottenham versus Chelsea. Graham, talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
It's well, for me, it's a game where the both of us aren't in the best of form, and with Chelsea picking up a few wins and us just being on a losing streak at the minute, it just seems that we can't afford to go 3 on the bounce. Like, and I don't think a point is good enough at this stage. I think we need to win. The players need to step up. Kane is injured. Like, get used to it. And like, injuries happen. You need to step up, or you're out the door. Like, I just think.
Poor old Dele Alli, the forgotten child. You can't even get him away.
Can't even get into the shoots. Like,
Pochettino couldn't even get him into PSG though. What's the story there?
Well,
like?
that's it. Yeah, you get the money for him.
Yeah. But give us a bit of positivity, Graham. We're looking Son and Moira and all. Come on, let's go. It's up against Chelsea. It's a London derby. Come on.
He has to go all out. In my case now, he'd probably go 4-3-3. He'd probably have Son, Lucas Moura and Bale up front.
Yeah,
and behind that, I don't know. You got to keep changing every week.
Good
Probably
Lord.
Højbjerg and Double A anyway.
Good Lord, Gareth Bale. Good Lord.
You won't be signing him in the summer. Oh, Jesus Christ, send him back to Madrid.
That man, I think, is looking for the putting green every time he goes on the pitch.
I don't know
What's wrong with him?
We're the nearest golf course.
Yeah, absolutely.
and everybody used to say it was Madrid's fault. Madrid are treating him disgracefully. He scored that goal in the Champions League.
Yeah. He hasn't stepped up in, like,
You had to bring it up, Dane, didn't you? That Champions League. You had to bring it up, didn't you? Always the way. Alex, come on, tell me about Chelsea. It has to be a win here, yeah?
I think it's a very interesting game because we've seen Tuchel's first 2 games in charge. So I know they've been against Wolves and Burnley, who are both good teams respectively. But I mean, I think even though they're in bad form, London derby against Tottenham is always going to be a tough game, especially with Mourinho as the coach. Like, he'll be well up for a game against Chelsea as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'd hope basically based on Tottenham's last games that we get a win. We seem to be on that new manager bounce with Tuchel. We played very well at the weekend. The whole team looks like it's clicking under him now. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I think it's very hard to call because, like, a derby is a derby, and you would, on current form, put Chelsea down as a favourites, but I'm not going to take anything for granted. I think Spurs are definitely still going to be a tough team to face, and Mourinho's definitely going to have one or two things up his sleeve. He loves a game against the big team.
Do you know what I'm really looking forward to this one? I'm looking forward to the interaction between Tuchel and Mourinho on the sideline. Because Tuchel's just a nutter. He's just crazy. Like,
he's
you know what I mean? So,
I think that it's so night and day compared to Frank, because I know when Frank was the manager, you'd see him a lot. He'd just stand there with his arms kind of falling on the side and he'd be very kind of, I suppose, conservative. Tuchel reminds me a lot of Conte. Remember, he used to be running up and down the sideline going nuts, and I like that. I like seeing that in the manager. I like seeing them basically kicking every ball and getting animated. Like, Klopp is like that too. I think it really adds to the thing, because I know if I'm a player and I look over and see my manager is into the game as I am, it's going to make me motivated to play. And look, it's going to be interesting. Like, we got Spurs on Thursday, we got Sheffield United on Sunday. So if we play anything like we did against Burnley, I think that we'll get a couple of good results.
Excellent. And not unlike Jose either against Liverpool the other night. He spent more of his time down at the corner flag than he did in the technical area. He was absolutely perplectic, so this should be a belter, Kane, Talk to me about Liverpool versus Brighton.
I think, I think like it's gonna be a good game when tonight in Anfield. Like we're back in Anfield again. I think it's gonna be a good game. Like Brighton are not too bad, but I think Liverpool will. I think we should beat them. Like because we're just in a great form at the moment, and I just think it's gonna keep going and going.
Have to start the run again now for another 4 years. Yeah, this is the first game.
I know. Yeah, like Jesus Christ. I know.
Craig, what do you think? I think this could be a
very good
dodgy game.
This could be a good game of football overall. I think because as Brighton where they are in the league position, Graham Potter doesn't really reflect that in their style of play. You know, they try and come out, they try and play football, move the ball very well. Maupay, if he's playing, he's a bit of a handful. You know, probably have to get somebody like Phillips, you know, more the Antonio kind of style again, you know, very physical. But Trossard is very tricky and very good as well. Basuma in the midfield, I think, is very good, very highly rated. I think he could do better, no offence to Brighton, but I think he could play in higher teams above and settle in very well. I think they're going to come and play football, to be honest, though. I don't think they're going to fear us.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I think that will play to our strengths as well, pulling them out and not having like a compact kind of team to deal with. But I can see us getting the job done, but I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as it will be. Like,
yeah, I mean, Brighton have played some lovely football this year. Like they're really, like Potter has them set up really well at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. It is deadline day, in case anyone forgot. Like, you know, not that there's a huge amount of business going on.
The club's forgot.
I've been following it all day, and I've had to search high and low to post stuff. To be honest. Simon, let's start with Arsenal. Odegaard in, and then a laundry list of lads out. Where do we start? Ozil, Saliba, Kolasinac, Socrates.
Saliba's an interesting one. Thank God for that. Saliba's an interesting one. I thought they'd give him time and they'd let him settle. They picked him for the 23s a couple of times, and you thought this lad's going to have something this year. He wasn't in and around it obviously last year, but he's going to come in and he'll get him playing. Arteta will understand how he wants him to play. We've been crying out for a defender. This lad could be the one who sits next to Gabriel. We saw him firstly at the beginning of the year. Everybody thought he was going to kick on, but strange decisions there to include him, to not include him. Then we had the whole just shit show with the squad registrations with Socrates and Ozil and the like. But thankfully, we've managed to get a lot of them off the wage bill now. This has been more towards dealings in the summer. I mean, Odegaard would be a nice thing to have in the squad at the moment. It's a weight off of Smith Rowe's shoulders because he's not going to be able to carry that 10 position for the rest of the season. He's a great footballer, but whether or not he's ready right now to play that game 90 minutes every week, run the show, we're going to need someone to come in and play there. But we've managed to get, thank God, Mustafi's out the door. Schalke have saved our season just in one transfer window, really, and taken Kolasinac with them as well. I don't think we'll get any more in. I mean, Maitland-Niles needs his football. It's unfortunate for him. He's going to have to go out and play somewhere else to get that, because he's a solid enough player. I mean, you look at him when he plays, he looks like he's on holiday half the time you watch him. He's so laid back. He's so cool in everything he does. But he hasn't got. It's his own fault for being as versatile as he is. He doesn't know where to fit himself in the team, and likewise, we don't know where to put him on the pitch. Then, so he's a cover for someone, but not good enough to start. So he'll go West Brom, I think, and he'll probably play every week.
Simon, the relief for me and the Liverpool fan base today when we heard Mustafi was on a plane to Schalke.
It was all smoke, thank God. Holy God.
You wouldn't believe the relief.
I saw your name linked with him and I thought, we're not going to pull the robbery on him here, and he's going to go to Liverpool. Surely not. Like, we're never going to get away with that. But yeah, Schalke it seems. But yeah, I think we need to take him away.
Yeah, you were never going to rob us with Michael Edwards, but the thoughts of him walking through the Shankly gates had me shivering. It was just Alex, talk about Chelsea. Obviously no players in, but Tomori and Drinkwater going out mainly.
Yeah, I think that Tomori going out was a bit of a strange one. Like, I thought he did very well last season when he was playing in the team, and I don't know what's happened to him. I think he got injured midway through last season and just he fell out of favour. But look, I mean, he's going to AC Milan. They're pushing for Serie A, so it's going to be good experience for him. I just hope that, he's the kind of player that we get back. Too often throughout the years, we've seen to let players go out on loan and then sold them and come to regret it. I know a few of the Liverpool fans know about Salah. We got De Bruyne and we got the likes of Lukaku and stuff. So I hope it doesn't follow into the same trend. In terms of Danny Drinkwater, I don't have the same feeling toward him for some reason. In the sense that I know he's kind of gone out, and it's to be honest, I forgot he played for Chelsea. That's how bad that is. But no, I think that we have a lot of players, and I think the main thing for Tuchel now is to work with the players that he has. Like we saw Marcus Alonso go back into the team yesterday, played a very good game. Like I know he said he's keeping Emerson, he's keeping Billy Gilmore, and I think it would be good for him to get to work with those boys as well. I wouldn't have been against Kepa maybe leaving the club because I don't think there's any future for him at Chelsea given how he's played lately. But look, I know I was on your podcast last week and you talked a bit about signings, but I think just given the amount of players that we have, now it's the time for Tuchel to get those players on his side and potentially sign a couple of lads in the summer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to believe it, Danny Drinkwater. What a player he was at Leicester and all. Like it's just unbelievable what's happened.
It was unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a serious player.
I think it was we fell into the trap of we signed them off the back of that because I think it worked very well with him and Kante, and I think a big problem with him as well was Conte didn't want him at the club. Like that summer window when we had won the league, he wanted the likes of Rajan Angle and he wanted a tour of Vidal, and I think the board kind of signed Drinkwater for him, so it was always going to be difficult for him to fit in given those circumstances.
It's mad to be talking Danny Drinkwater and Vidal in one sentence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hard to believe. Mark, talk to me about Man United. This Diallo kid just looks like he has everything. And obviously Lingard, Chong and Garner going out. You're probably not too upset about Jesse Lingard, to be honest.
I've only stopped wiping away my tears, to be honest with you now.
I know he's gone off to learn his trade and all, but like, what you're thinking there at the moment with those guys, especially Diallo?
Yeah, Diallo. Watched him on MUTV there the weekend against Liverpool. He looks unreal. I was seeing clips of him from Italy and all, but listen, when you're on YouTube, sure, they just put up all the best clips anyway, that's the way. But yeah, no, he looks a great prospect. He's only young. He'll hopefully get run in the next few games. He's at the age, he's no fear. He'll just run at defenders, The Lingard situation, I think he's only gone out alone because some of the teams can't afford him. I can't see him getting back into the team again. I think this is the end of the road for him with us, there's a few other lads gone out on loan, but there's only so much you can play in the under 23s. You need to play proper first team football, to try to get into the squad.
I heard Ollie today on Sky Sports saying he was delighted with the move at Lingard because he wanted him to get out there and start playing some football. I reckon that locker was cleaned out and locked and the name taken off it within 5 minutes of him driving out of that car park without a shadow of it.
Well, West Ham have just signed a social media player. That's it. That's all he is, making videos in the locker room and everything. That's all he does,
The only time that man will see Old Trafford again is if he's in the West Ham squad against United at Old Trafford. There's no doubt about it.
That's it. But no, and then like the likes of hopefully Van de Beek getting a run in the team over the next few weeks, that'd be like having a new signing in itself. Then that's a boy as well. Can
you realistically see that happening?
No, I thought, to be honest with you, if he can play Pogba, maybe drop Martial, play Pogba on the left-hand side and fit Van de Beek into the middle with Fernandes somehow over the next few games. I don't know if McTominay is going to be back or whatever for Tuesday. I know he went off with a stomach problem or whatever, but he needs to be playing games. He's not a Dutch international for no reason whatsoever. He's come through the Ajax academy. I think he played over 100 games for Ajax, scored nearly 30 goals. He doesn't become a bad player overnight. Obviously, we don't know the situation of what goes on in the training ground 7 days a week, but there's something seriously up there that he's not playing.
I don't remember ever seeing a £45 million signing to be treated in the way that he's being treated. I mean, his agent is going crazy. It's just such a weird one, like, because he looked amazing for Ajax and stuff like that. And even in the times when he's come in for United, he's given you like something different. Yeah. And yet Ollie's just not convinced. I suppose it's like the Lindelof Maguire situation. He's just so convinced about that he can't seem to break away from it at times as well.
Yeah, no, he came in against Newcastle in St James's Park and changed the game for us. We got the win. I know Fernandez scored a goal, but he was involved in everything. Now, we came in last week against Liverpool in the FA Cup. He didn't have a great game, but it's going to be hard to be thrown in a game against Liverpool. You know, that took away. You're not going to be playing out of their skin, and especially the way we were set up against us as well. You know.
Yeah, it was more sort of, it wasn't really positivity. It wasn't really to go out there and attack, which is kind of his game, you know.
Yeah.
So then, Craig, we're going to assume that Kabak and Davis are coming in.
Yeah.
Defenders that we badly needed. We've been crying out for these defenders. I still think it'll be Fabinho and Henderson against City.
I agree. Yeah, go ahead.
But what are you thinking on these two boys?
I just think, especially in January, you know, we can all go on social media and say we need a centre back, we want a centre back, but especially in January, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Is my mic going?
Yeah, no, you're fine.
It doesn't happen so easily, especially when people all around the world are aware of our situation. You know, usually you can be hanged to the slaughter for that. You know, you're looking for a centre back. That's no problem, but we're gonna hang you out to dry. The dealings that we've done, I don't know anything about either of them, but the Davis one, out of the blue, kind of what we did like with the Fabinho kind of thing. You know, there's obviously a reason. Maybe come in for cover. He's tall. I think he's athletic build. You know, he's 6'4". I think he's something like that. He's tall. Kabak, I think we were linked with him before, so there must be a reason we've gone back there. You know, there's definitely something that they've seen in him. I think Klopp has been in touch also with Wagner, who was manager of Schalke, David Wagner, who was previous manager of Huddersfield, getting some insight on him. And maybe he's looking towards the European games with Leipzig coming up. If we throw Kabak in, will he know the opposition playing against them centre forwards, playing against that attack? Will he feel comfortable in that kind of game, in a more of a European kind of style fixture? Good for Sepp van der Burg, hopefully go to Preston out on loan. Hopefully he'll get some game time in a really physical, commanding league, which is probably going to benefit him. So all in all, I'm pretty happy, hopefully, with the business.
Yeah, it's great to bring another centre back, like, because the likes of Virgil van Dijk, we don't know when will he be returning from injury, like, so it's great to bring in him, like, you know what I mean? And hopefully he make a debut, maybe see what he's like.
It's just great to see some centre backs on the page instead of midfield.
It is, yeah.
And the thing about Davis is he was about to sign for Celtic. So
really,
could you imagine? Yeah, because you can imagine how
already.
Yeah, he's kissing his agent at the minute, saying thank you, Lord Jesus, because they're brutal. But the thing about
Celtic are playing terrible, aren't they?
Yeah, but the thing about Davis is you're getting him for $2 million, right? He's only young, but if he gets a good run in the team, send him out on loan, and even sending him out on loan, you're still going to make money back from him as well. So it makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the initial payment is 900,000, and you know Gerrard rang Klopp and said, "This lad's going to Celtic. Would you mind pinching him there? we're just about there, like, you know what I mean?" So, yeah,
it's gonna be good now to see what these two boys are like. Now it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be good now.
Well, the one thing about Klopp is he likes these big physical defenders. Anyway, that's for sure.
What Dino actually rightfully said earlier, what happens in the summer. I just sadly can't see a future for Joel Matip, and I love him to bits. He's never put a foot wrong. He's been outstanding, but injuries do take their toll, and if you're unreliant, sadly, what can you do? Like, it kills me to say it, but Joe, you know, isn't out of the woods yet either. You know, I think Joe's had some serious injuries. Maybe, you know, you throw your eye on that as well. Obviously, don't wish it upon anybody, but when Matip has played, he's been, you know, outstanding. But sadly, if you're looking over your shoulder, is he fit? Is he not fit? You know, the club has to take the best option, sadly, as well.
I'd say a lot of it is mental with him as well at this stage. He's had so many injuries, you know what I mean? It's just trying to get back to that level. I mean, every time he's come in and played, he's looked outstanding, but he just can't get that run of games to get that confidence up. And to me, like, he's just made out of breadsticks, you know what I mean? It's just the simplest of things puts him out for months, you know what I mean? And I suppose, Dane, looking at Leeds, I don't think they've done a huge amount of business. They probably put a few young lads out on loan, I'd imagine, but not a lot has happened really, has it?
Yeah, they paid up Conor O'Shaughnessy's contract. Honestly, we all thought he was gone in 2017. We all didn't even think he was at the club, like, because when you're out of favour at the club, as much as I love Bielsa and all, like, it's a bit unfair. He has these lads training on their own, like, not in Thorpe Arch, which is the training ground, literally training in their own gym or somewhere like that. When you're not in the team, you're not in the team. Like, you can't make your way in. If you get, you know what I mean? Once he decides, that's it. Like, But
Yeah.
and then we had some Rafa Miyuka. He's gone out on loan again. He's only like 20 or something. But we are linked with our man Rodrigo de Paul. I think he was linked with Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we linked with him in the summer, and he was liking tweets and all like about Leeds fans and stuff like that. And we're still linked to him. And your man on Talksport today, Andy Brasso, was saying that it's likely destination is Leeds in the summer. But if you get him, like he's in the top for stats at the moment. He's in the top 5 in the world. So hopefully we can get him in the summer.
Yeah, I'd say with Bielsa, if you're not in the current squad, you're probably not even allowed park at the training ground. They're allowing that.
No, that's it. Like,
stay at home.
When you're not in his squad, like I don't even think he gives you tracksuits, like or t-shirt or jerseys or anything to train in. Like, and it is a bit sad, but that's his way. I think he has a kind of like ADHD thing where like he needs no thing straight, like, and nothing can interrupt with his mindset. You know what I mean?
I just look at him on the sideline when he's in that crouch down position, and like you just know that lad would proper mess you up in a row.
You know why he does that? You know, does anybody know why he sits on the bucket?
No, go on.
Because he says he can see the pitch level. So when you're standing up, you can't see how level that. Just say where everyone's bodies is. If he wants the formation perfect, like when he's sitting down, he can see everybody perfectly aligned. Like when you're standing up, you can't see that.
Because
it's such a weird thing, you know.
Yeah, because
who would even think of that?
I was thinking when I'm looking at him and going, how does that guy's knees even function after 90 minutes of that? half the time he's not even on a bucket or a stool, he's just floating in midair. Like, it's crazy.
That's why Neymar dives all the time, so we can be at pitch level to see all the game, is it?
And I tell you, if anyone wants to look at it, he's able to get into that position and drink a coffee as well. I don't know if you've ever tried to crouch down and hold your balance and drink a coffee at the same time. It's near impossible, but he does it like as if it's just nothing. It's like he's sitting in a chair. Very intimidating.
Oh, he's amazing. Best manager I've ever seen that Leeds, obviously leading the mess we've been in for the last 16 years. But he's class. Even when we score, you'll get a little fist pump. But then he turns around and he's straight back into like being stressed about something, like, you know what I mean? He didn't pass it right to get that goal, or I'm not scoring the goal, you know what I mean? It's just the way his mind thinks. It's like he kind of overthinks, but that's what makes him one of the best in the world.
He's nearly like one of those thriller movies where he'd be smiling at you right before he puts a knife through you or something, isn't he? Like that's the way he is. Like he just looks like he'd proper mess you up big time.
That's what they call him, a loco.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, a couple of hot topics, lads, I want to bring up and get you all to chime in on them. The first one we've kind of touched on already, but we can have a chat about it as a group. Bamford and Bielsa, which I thought would definitely get a mention tonight on the show, especially after the performances. Anyone else want to take the lead on that apart from Dean? He's already spoken and he can chime in, obviously.
Yeah, I don't mind. So I kind of touched on it earlier. I think he deserves immense credit. Not only he's been the lone striker in the Premier League in a newly promoted team up against, Premier League defences. Gave us a horrible time in the first game of the season. That was with Van Dijk and with a settled back four. And he makes a lot of his own, work, and he involves other people as well, like Harrison's goal and stuff, very unselfish. And his goal yesterday, I touch on again. If that was anyone else, everyone would be talking about it, like a more top 6 recognised kind of player. He's on 11 goals this season already. And I think Dino would obviously know a lot more than myself, but it's like Bielsa has him as the main man, and that's it. We trust him. And the trust is, rewarded, obviously.
It's the work rate, really, isn't it? It's just his work rate, his tireless work rate up front, right across that line, is everything that Bielsa stands for, isn't it, really, when you think about it? It's just incredible. Like,
that's what the team we ended with yesterday, I think, except the goalkeeper, was a team Bielsa started with in 2018 in the championship.
Yeah.
And like these players he has, and like every Leeds fan will tell you, most of them are average championship players. And look what he has them doing. I don't know how he gets them to do it, but he obviously has that power to turn an average player into a decent player.
I think you can hold Harrison down as well. It'd be amazing, like permanent.
Yeah, that was, see, what happened last year was we wanted to sign last year. We could have signed last year for 8 million, but we said ask Man City, can we sign him next year, this season, or this summer, for 10 million, and we use the money to buy Rafinha instead.
Happy, yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then does he qualify for Ireland to play for Ireland, Bamford, does he?
Yeah, well, I don't anymore now, so Mick McCarthy wouldn't leave him alone.
Yeah.
Here we are going for the playoff. Well, we are going for the league, and then we ended up in the playoffs. Mick McCarthy was ringing him, and he's like, "You're playing." He was like, "Look, I need to concentrate on Leeds. I need to do this to get them promoted." And he just kept ringing him, and Bamford wouldn't pick up the phone. Now. I think that's the end of that story. Sure, Gareth Southgate is at every match now.
The thing that these players forget as well is once they make that commitment, they're carving about 15 to 20 million off their value. You know what I mean? Than if you declare for England, like, you know what I mean? So it's a hard call. I'd say a lot of those performances you're saying, Dean, is based on fear. I'd say those lads go on the pitch and they're going, this lad is going to absolutely tear me aside.
Like, if you look, when we score, like, you look at it I always look at it as assistant because I find it hilarious. They run up like they're allowed to hug him, and then they know straight away. Don't, like they're talking about Bielsa here. They go to celebrate with Marcelo, and then when they go up to him, they're like, "Oh no!" and then they just walk away. It's every single time. It's hilarious.
Yeah, run the length of the pitch, and then you get a little elbow.
Yeah. Did you hear the game of Motorball? Have you heard about that yet?
No, go on.
So basically, I think it's a 20-minute match. So the ball, so there's 6 people on either side, and there's 11 against 11. And the minute the ball goes out, another one gets thrown straight in. So you're not stopping for 20 minutes. I think it's 20 minutes, a half an hour. And they play every Wednesday. It's called Motorball. If we don't have a match during the week, they play that. And the players are like, we don't know what it does. Like, it gets us fit. Like, well, at the end of it, people are really getting sick and are sitting on the ground and all. And if you pull out that Motorball session, you're not in the squad for the next game.
Jeez, that's mad, isn't it?
That's mad.
It's mad. You look at our injury list. It is great. Look at all the injuries, all the toe injuries and stuff like that. I mean, 3 players went off injured on Saturday.
Yeah.
Similar to us, isn't it? Like,
it's mad. Klopp plays like that as well. Klopp has that heavy metal football, they're real fast. You know what I mean? He plays it. That's what's going to happen to our players when you play, you know?
And we didn't have a pre-season, Dino, either of us, like a proper pre-season, you know?
Exactly, yeah. You only got, 2 or 3 games in quick succession, and you're straight into there, then into a League Cup, and then load of league games during the week, and then into the FA Cup. And
you barely get time to train, really. It's all matches when you think about it, and recovery.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Simon, talk to me about Mikel Arteta. What are you thinking? You go back 8 weeks ago, this guy was a dead man walking, and now he has one of the best records over the last 5 or 6 games. It's incredible. Like,
it's strange because I think outside of the club, it would appear that his job was very much on the line. Anyone we would speak to, any of the Arsenal fans I had talked to, it was pretty much right. He's got to do X, Y, and Z. He's got to beat Chelsea. He's got to get points from this next game. He's got to try and do this. He's got to bring this one in. The club seemed quite happy with him. There didn't seem to be any grumblings from anywhere. I think we knew as fans, look, he's going to have to do something here. And I think he was almost forced into those sorts of decisions. We knew Smith Rowe was a player from the way he played at Huddersfield on the loan spell that he had last year. I think putting him into the team is almost a no-brainer when you're crying out for it. You're crying out for that player. But he seems to have I don't know, he's getting the best out of Holding. We're beginning of the season, we're all sitting there thinking he's not going to play. Rob will go. He was nearly gone out the door to Newcastle at the beginning of the season. But he's getting a system there now where we actually don't look too bad. We went through a period of, I think my dad touched on it with yourself there the other day, just probably one of the worst Arsenal teams we've ever had this misfortune of watching. But all of a sudden, in this little run we've put together, we've banged in some goals, put in a few against Chelsea, West Brom as well. We look like we can actually do something going forward now. I mean, obviously, yeah, we didn't score against United the other day, but we looked like we would get one at some point. The way we were going forward at certain points, there was a chance for a goal there at the very least, something we weren't seeing all in the build-up before Christmas. I mean, sitting there watching that Boxing Day, I was expecting us to get absolutely mullered. And then Chelsea didn't turn up, thankfully. And we did our stuff. He's done something. I think that the players are behind him. You can see that. You can see the way they're training. And he does talk a good game, but as us as fans, we're still waiting. We still need to see where we end up this year. I think we've got to try and get as high up the table as possible. Disappointed to go out of the cup because that's our cup. We always felt that's our cup to win. But going out of Europe, I don't know if even that would be a bad thing at this point in time. The more we get into the way the season's bunching up, the way the points are bunching up in the table, we're not too far off of fourth if we get a couple wins together. It's not completely beyond the realms of possibility, but he's doing okay. I think we could do certainly a lot better, but we'll give him the benefit of that at the moment, I think.
Holding as captain was a huge decision, wasn't it? Like, because I remember when that first happened, the backlash off the Arsenal fan base was unbelievable. Like, they couldn't believe that decision. Like, and he's really grown into that role now and taken that responsibility, hasn't he? And I think giving him the captaincy has really elevated his game as a player. When you think about it, he's been outstanding since the decision.
Definitely. He like I said, he was almost out the door going to Newcastle. Bruce wanted him up there at Newcastle to go and play, and he would have played week in, week out playing for Newcastle, I think. But he spoke with Arteta. Arteta asked him and told him, right, if you're going to stay, I want you in, and I want you in as one of my main men. And he's more than risen to the task. I think he plays like a proper Arsenal defender at times. You can see in a weird way, it's hard to say, but I think he's definitely one of those players that actually gives a shit. You can see he puts on that shirt and it actually still means something to play for Arsenal Football Club. You watch a lot of players, we've shipped out a good few of them this window, but they don't understand what it actually means to put that shirt on for that club. It's a massive, massive football club. And he gets that. He definitely gets that. And you can tell that he's going to be sticking around for a little bit longer now.
That passion you speak about, that's missing in a lot of teams, isn't it? When you think about it, when they put the shirt on, they just for one reason or another, they don't get it. They don't understand the history. You know, you're putting on the shirt that Tony Adams or Martin Keown wore, and you know, or even Sol Campbell. You know, it needs to mean something. You can't just scoot in there and let it slide. You know, Alex, talk to me about King Thomas, who has arrived at Chelsea and is now putting a stamp on the team with formations and stuff like that. How's your feeling now? Nearly what are we, nearly a week on, roughly?
Yeah, it was just last week that I was talking to yourself after Frank got sacked. So, I mean, it's interesting in the sense that, you know, a week later, so much has happened. Like, we played 2 games and, you know, played quite well in one of those games as well. So, look, so far, so good. I mean, I was sad to see Frank go because I'm always going to be a massive Frank Lampard fan, but I think Tuchel has definitely brought some positives into the side. He's got a lot of players on side and they're playing some nice stuff. So, look, I just hope it continues. It's still fairly early doors for Tuchel, but so far the signs are good.
Excellent. So then I'll move over to my fellow Reds. Let's have a chat about Mo Salah. I know we've already touched on it, but let's talk about the man. For a man who's lacking in confidence, he's outstanding.
Like he's outstanding now. Like, he's even his touch, his control on the ball. Like, him and Trent are linking up now very well at the moment as well. Like, down the line, it's just his pass and his control. It's just unbelievable. Like,
it's like he's up for it again, isn't it? It's like he's had this lease of life and he's back at it.
Yeah.
Like, even the way he put stuff as well. Like, he a few 4 games out, he wasn't really cutting in. Like, he was. Like, I see, like they were saying yesterday, like, the only player to really mark him is Luke Shaw. He did an outstanding job on him. Like, most left backs now are they're not really marking him at the moment, and he's just unbelievable.
I just think as a team we were a bit, you know, disconjointed for them few games. But now that, like you were saying, Niall, about, you know, getting the jigsaw back together and stuff, it's obviously benefited him as well. He's not looking gone down blind alleys and stuff. And when he's on the ball now, there's more of that, you know, he's actually going to do something here. And he believes it himself. He wants the ball. He non-stop wants to drive at people. Like, he wasn't free to score that left-footed goal, the first one. It wasn't that easy. But he believed and he knew what he was doing. And, like, he didn't even doubt him. Whereas other times he'd be like, you know, well, I cut back, I'm at the losing it. And he'd be kind of in a huff. But when he's on his game, he's unplayable. Like, he really is.
Yes. And he deserved man the match yesterday. He really did. Like,
absolutely. Mark, we already touched on Donny van de Beek, but talk to me about it. How do you see this panning out? I mean, is he going to be used? Is he going to start playing into the team? What way is Solskjaer going to manage this, if you like.
I'd love to see him get running the team because that's what you need. You can't, like I said, you can't expect him to come off the bench and play a game and then bench him again. He needs to get a consistent run of games. And I wouldn't like to see him go after signing, only last year. Like you were saying before, Van der Sar had a big hand in that. But he's, like I said, he came through the Ajax academy. He's played over 100 games for them. And he's been capped for Holland since under 17s. So there's something about him, and it's something that we need in the team at the minute because, like I said, some ideas we've used in the last few games haven't been working. So I throw him in there. And the same with Ahmed as well, who scored the 2 goals over the weekend. Throw him in, see what you can do. It's not any worse than what we have out there already,
Yeah, it looks like on the face of it, when you look at Martial and Rashford and guys like that, they seem to be running out of a bit of gas, don't they? They seem that the season is starting to tire them. They look very worn out, especially Rashford. I mean, I was shocked the other day when he played after limping off against us. I thought that guy was going to be gone at least for 10 days, and all of a sudden he was back in again and again. You know what I mean? And it's like as if Solskjaer doesn't know how to, rotate a squad and give people that kind of rest and how to manage them through these games, if you like. You know what I mean? It's always the starting 11, and it must be frustrating even for Greenwood there on the periphery trying to get into the team and make his mark. You know what I mean? When it's and he sees the likes of Martial who's going in there and just not performing, and yet he can't get in there. Normally when he comes in, he either creates something or he makes something happen. Breath of fresh air, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the Martial thing, like last season, I think he got 11 goals or something. But when he burst onto the scene, everyone's saying he's a 20-goal-a-season striker. He hasn't been at all, He's been so hot and cold. It's unreal. But again, Rashford, yeah, he looks burnt out. He's been we've been relying since before Cavani came in. We've been relying on. I'm sure we even got a Gallo in on loan. Like that's how desperate we were for a striker, and it's a lot of pressure on the shoulders because he's still only a young lad as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a bit of admin. We are the Upper Tier, brought to you by the Dynamo Podcast Network, available on YouTube. So head over there, smash that subscribe button, like, share, all the usual good stuff to support us. We're also on Spotify on audio. So if you head over there, you'll get us on the Dynamo Podcast Network on Spotify. And we're obviously on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at _upper_tier. If you want to hit us up with any comments or reaction to this show. Lads, it's been absolutely fantastic having you all on. This is our first Monday mashup that we've done, and I think it went brilliant. Great to have you all on, and great to hear all the opinions, and hopefully all the teams still keep on doing well.
It was brilliant. Niall. Listen, thanks so much for having me on. It was great chatting to you, lads. Really well.
Great to have you all on.
You're all a sound bunch, lads.
So from me, Niall Hogan, and from you guys, the Monday mashup panel. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time.